my phone.
Hello?
Morning. I think Mike's trying to get on here, so we should be able to get started here in a minute.
Good morning, Mr. Wolf.
How are you?
Fine. My name is Beverly Bench, and I will be the court reporter.
Thank you. Did you have any questions?
No,
Or okay.
I'm good to go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We'll try to talk slow so that you can get all of us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just waiting on our chair to join the meeting, and then we should be able to get started. So
Perfect.
Mike's having a little trouble with the link, so trying something else.
Brad, it looks like we have a quorum. Maybe Amanda can open up the meeting.
Yeah, I guess we could at least read through the docket. Probably start something. I think Mike's still trying, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to recuse myself on a couple of the,
Yeah, exactly. I know. That's why I was trying to wait for him to show.
yeah, but I'm happy I can go ahead and start it. We can at least approve minutes or whatever.
Yeah, get a couple things done, so that is fine.
I have a cheat sheet somewhere. Okay. All right, well, welcome to the January 22nd, 2021 Historic Preservation Commission meeting. Joining us today, well, I'm Vice Chair Amanda Laughlin, and joining us today are Commissioners Dr. Walter Guth, Commissioner Sean Owens, Commissioner Amber Courtney, Commissioner Sarah Legg, and at some point our chair Mike Harden will be here, and my cat's trying to join too. Thank you all for joining us. We would like to thank you for your patience during these unprecedented times. Obviously, we've kind of gotten used to doing this a bit, but it's always still a little awkward. So I guess we could start by swearing in the staff. Will Brad and Lauren, will you raise your right hand and take the oath? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. All right. So just so everyone is clear on how we use the Zoom, maybe everybody understands this, but we need it. Unmute yourself and speak, and mute yourself when you're done speaking. If your device has a camera, you will appear on screen while you speak. If you would like to disable this, you can deselect the camera icon in the toolbar. Brad will bring, he'll bring in the panelists, bring you in when it's your turn to go over the minutes or your item on the agenda. Brad will bring you in, and then you will have a chance to speak towards your project. So there is that, and you can use the chat feature as well to kind of get attention if we need to. Let's see. I guess, Brad, do you want to read the docket?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start with that. So before you are the minutes from the November 20th, 2020 meeting and the December 11th, 2020 meeting for your approval.
All right. I guess, did everyone have a chance to read through the minutes? And are there any corrections or additions that you wanted to add? If not, can we get a motion to approve the minutes for November? Can we do them together, or do we need to do them separately, Nicole?
Probably better to do separately, just to make clear that they're, you're accepting them both individually.
Sounds good. All right. Do we have a motion then to approve the November 20th, 2020 minutes?
So moved.
Dr. Guth moves. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Courtney seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. So that passes 5-0. And do we have a motion to accept the December 11th, 2020 minutes?
So moved.
So moved.
Commissioner Owens, and then Dr. Guth, would you like to second it?
Yeah, I will second it.
Okay. So we have Commissioner Owens and Dr. Guth. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
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 And I also vote aye, so that's 5-0 to approve.
Then for our regular cases, we have one National Register nomination for the Stair Rector House. The applicant is present along with the property owner, and staff is ready to proceed. And staff approved 2 administrative certificates of appropriateness over the past month. And then for our regular cases, case number CH-DR-2020-0127, 3303 Harrison Street. Staff requests a continuance to the February meeting to allow the applicant more time to gather information. Can I have a motion to that effect?
Oh, sorry, Brad. Yeah, I guess
Okay.
we do need to continue that, don't we? Anyone like to make the motion to continue that case?
I'll move that we continue that case.
All right, Commissioner Owens moves to continue the case to the February meeting. Do we have a second?
Second. Oh,
I guess that's Commissioner Legg. I think you said second first. So Commissioner Legg seconds it, and all in favor?
Aye.
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 And I also vote aye. So 5-0 approved to continue that case to next month.
Just to clarify for the record, that is for the 2 West Concord Avenue.
No, 3303 Harrison Street.
Okay, 33. I just wanted to make sure it was clear. Of course, I just messed up the record, but
So we moved and approved to continue 3303 Harrison Street to next month. And that's
Okay.
case number 2020-00127.
thank you.
Thank you, Miss Rilla.
And then for our other cases, case number CH-DR-2020-0129, 1818 East 19th, 1801 East 18th, and 1901 East 18th. The applicant is present and staff is ready to proceed. Case number CH-DR-2020-00139, 611 East 46th Street. The applicant is present and staff is ready to proceed. And case number CH-DR-2021-00002, 18 West 52nd Street. The applicant has indicated he will attend and staff is ready to proceed. And then we'll have a few 106 cases which we'll address at the end of the meeting.
Since Mike isn't here yet, Brad, can we go on to some of the cases and maybe have the National Register when he gets here? Okay.
Yeah, we can actually skip ahead. I think the applicant, let me double check here. She is present. Sonia Harshberger, the applicant for 2020-00139 is present. So we could actually go ahead and proceed with her case.
Okay. All right, then. In case number CHDR-2020-00139 at 611 East 46th Street. I guess you're bringing her in as a panelist.
Yes, she is coming in.
All right. I have too many screens up on my laptop. I'm trying to flip back and forth. All right, Ms. Harshberger, are you able to turn on your camera?
Just got it, yes.
Hey, all right. Very good. Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Yes, Sonia Hirschberger, 611 East 46th Street, Kansas City, Missouri, 64110.
Thank you. And will you raise your right hand and take the oath? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Awesome. Okay. And we have exhibits in the staff report are listed as A through Q. Do we have any new exhibits?
There are no new exhibits.
All right. Do we have any objection to admitting these exhibits to the record? Okay, hearing none, they're admitted, and we will proceed with the staff report.
The property address is 611 East 46th Street. It's a contributing property in the Rock Hill Historic District. Basically faces north, so you can see this is the west and north side of the house. And this is the north and east side of the house. In particular, you can see the deck addition that will be replaced as part of this. And then this is the front porch of the house, which is the second part of the application, which will be doing some modifications to the front. As you can see, this is kind of the surrounding streetscape to the west and to the north, fairly close to the Nelsons. And here is the 1940 tax assessor photograph. So here's the main facade, but the applicant is actually proposing, as you can see here, to replace the existing rear deck and construct a garage and deck addition. Basically, the addition will consist of a two-car garage with an additional space with a deck on top. It will be mostly below grade, but obviously on the west side, you will be able to see it along with a pergola. And there'll be a wood balustrade with metal balusters, and the deck will only be visible mostly on the east end, similar to the existing deck.
May I correct something? I think it's actually going to be an iron rail. Is that what you were talking about? But I think I heard you say wood, but maybe
I thought I wasn't sure. I thought it was a combination of wood and iron. Is it all iron?
The around the decking would be iron. Yes.
Okay, so it will be all iron. I wasn't sure about the post illustrated, so it will be an all iron railing. And here's another elevation. I said this you won't really be visible from the public right of way. And then for the other parts, basically the applicant is proposing to install louvered shutters on the first and second stories. Those would be those that match the design in the 1940s photograph. The applicant also proposes to install two planter boxes below the windows on the third story dormers, as you can see here. The applicant proposes to change the paint scheme to a light gray with white trim and a dark blue for the front door. And the applicant also proposes to remove the existing tiled front steps with new concrete steps. The applicant also proposes to remove the stucco parapet, which you can see right above the top of the porch, and install a wood balustrade with turn spindles.
That actually was the architect's idea, but I don't have any intention of doing that, and I don't want to pursue that.
Okay.
We'll come to you and give you a chance to have like a full, not rebuttal, but explain your project in just a second. So hold that thought and we'll come back to you and have you explain a few of them.
I apologize. Thank you.
No problem. Not a problem. I just want to make sure you have a full chance to speak to your project.
The existing deck is not a historic feature, and its removal is in conformance with standard number 2. The proposed garage and deck addition will be secondary in mass and scale to the existing house and will not remove any significant historic features. It is of compatible design and can be removed in the future without harming the integrity of the house in conformance with standards 2, 9, and 10. The shutters on the house are based on historic evidence in conformance with standard number 6, and they are of dimensions and appropriate size for the windows in conformance with standard number 9, and can be removed in the future without harming the integrity of the property in conformance with standard number 10. The first and second story windows have stone sills. You can see them, they're kind of illustrated in the dark brown color in the existing color scheme, while the dormer windows do not. The planters will be complementary to the existing sills and will not obscure any features in conformance with standards 2, 9, and 10. And the proposed paint scheme is in conformance with standards 2 and 5. I've noted that the applicant is withdrawing the parapet replacement. General staff thought that should be retained, but obviously if it's being withdrawn, we can just remove that from the motion. And that concludes the staff report.
Great. Do we have any questions for staff before we have Ms. Harshberger talk about her project? Okay. Well then, Ms. Harshberger, do you want to speak to your project?
Well, I guess I think he's probably said it all. We have an existing deck that was built on the home when we purchased it in April. It was already there and it's needing to be taken down. It was not built properly, so we're forced into a situation where we're going to have to address it and severely taking it off. So we thought, well, we'll maybe try to make the best of this situation and tear out a lot of the concrete. Our backyard basically is a parking lot right now. So we're going to try to install the little squares of pavement where the grass can grow in between. So it'll actually be nice in that regard for runoff, and also just aesthetically pleasing, I think, versus just a solid concrete pad. And so I don't know what else you might want me to say. We're just trying to get it back to something that seems more historically appropriate and functional for us.
Sure. Do we have any questions for the applicant from commissioners? I just have, okay, Commissioner Owen, just 1 second. I want to ask a question while it's on my mind. I'm just curious, the difference of height between the garage and the existing structure of the deck. It looks like it might be about the same height.
No, it will be the same height. Yeah.
Okay.
The backyard slopes down quite a bit. So as it is now, we're using the decking as a carport underneath right now, but we'd like to enclose it. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right. Commissioner Owens.
Yeah, less of a question, more of just a comment. I think the only issue I had with the proposal when it was first stated was the parapet around the entry. So I'm glad to hear that that's not going to be replaced. And also, about 20 years ago, I knew the girl who lived here. She was a good friend of mine. And even back then, I remember thinking that back deck was poorly designed and kind of strange on the house. So on a personal note, I'm very glad to see it going away. And I think what you've got proposed here is a really classy design, and I'm glad to see it happening.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions for the applicant? Commissioner Legg?
I just had a clarification. The shutters will only be going on the north facade, is that correct?
That's our idea at this time. I don't see the point in going around the house.
Right.
Although I guess if I want to do that later, I can submit it again, but.
Yeah. Any other questions for the applicant? Do we have anyone in the audience wishing to speak to this project?
I said you can use the raise your hand function if you want me to move you in so you can testify, but I do not see anybody at this moment.
All right. Okay, well then we will close the floor to testimony, and we will, if we want to discuss among commissioners or perhaps a motion. Commissioner Owens?
Unless anybody has any more comments, I'm happy to go ahead and make the motion.
Please do.
Okay. In case number CHDR 2020-00139, 611 East 46th Street within the Rock Hill Historic District, I move that the commission approve a certificate of appropriateness to remove the existing deck, construct a garage and deck addition, install shutters, paint the exterior, install planter boxes, and replace the porch steps as these actions are in conformance with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitations number 2, 5, 6, 9, and 10.
You could just stop it there.
Yep, I'll stop right there.
All right. So do we have a second to this motion?
Second.
Dr. Guth, you get to second this time. Do we have any discussion on the motion? All right, then I will take a roll call vote this time. Commissioner Owens, how do you?
Aye.
Commissioner Courtney?
Aye.
Dr. Guth?
Aye.
And Commissioner Legg?
Aye.
And I also vote aye, so the motion passes 5-0. And I see that our chair is back, so I'm turning it over to you, Mr. Harden.
Okay, well, you did a very good job. I was going to let you keep going.
No.
Fair enough. Very good. Ms. Harshberger, it would appear that this motion does pass and your certificate of appropriateness is issued. Thank you so much and very good luck with your project.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all the work you guys are doing. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Mr. Wolf, what case do I want to call next? Would I like to
We will
call the
actually-
application for the National Register of Historic Places?
Yes, exactly.
Very good. So called.
And just for the record, I will recuse myself from this since it's our firm that did it.
Okay. Are you presenting, Ms. Laughlin? Ms. Laughlin? No? Okay. Okie doke. Mr. Wolf, do we have the, oh, there we go. Okay.
Yep, Ms. Consolo should be coming through, so.
Okay, so I need to then share my screen, right?
Let me do a couple things real quick, and then I'll switch it over so you can share your presentation.
Okay. Mr. Wolf, sorry, Ms. Roulette, can you remind me real quick? Do we need to swear in Ms. Consoli?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was reading your lips on that. Good morning, Rachel. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Very good. Will you please raise your right hand for the oath? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. Mr. Wolf, staff report.
Property address is 2008 East 12th Street. It's basically located on the east side in the historic 12th Street corridor. It's the nomination for the Stair Rector House. So Rachel Consolo with Rosen Preservation will be presenting the nomination. So let me stop sharing my screen so she can do the presentation. Did yours pop up okay?
All right, let me see. I just forget which order I need to do this. Nope, that was the wrong order. Sorry. Okay, so if I share that. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay, but then if I do that, what do you see? Do you see
You see the PowerPoint up there?
just the PowerPoint or all my text too? Just the picture.
We
Yeah,
don't see the
not-
presentation. It's like the slides are on the left side of the screen.
Yeah, it's not the presentation mode.
All right, sorry. Okay. Oh my gosh, you'd think I'd never done Zoom before. How do I? Okay, I'm gonna try this again.
Here we go.
Okay, and I was at just the,
Yep, you're in presentation mode. That looks good.
all right, great. Okay, sorry. All right. The Sarah Rector House is locally significant under criterion A in the area of ethnic heritage for its important associations with African American heritage in Kansas City in the early to mid 20th century. The period of significance is 1920 to 1971, representing the time in which the home was occupied by Sarah Rector and her family. Sarah Rector as Kansas City's first female African-American millionaire, and then followed by two mortuaries owned and operated by African-American families, the Atkins Brothers Funeral Home and the C.K. Kerford Funeral Home. The Rector House is located at 2000 East 12th Street, east of downtown Kansas City and north of the early center of African-American businesses along 18th Street. The nominated property occupies the southwest corner of the block with 12th Street along the south and Euclid Avenue along the west. The building faces south and is set atop a small hill. The property owner, United Intercity Services, a community organization, owns the rest of the property, including the office and child care center constructed in 2003. The parking lots that are included within the boundary were constructed at that time. Sarah Rector was descended from individuals who had been enslaved by the Creek Nation of Alabama. This association eventually entitled her to a land allotment under the General Allotment Act, whereby citizens of the Creek Nation would receive 160 acres of land, but only those born before March of 1906. Born in 1902, Sarah Rector was eligible for these acres, although there were only small scattered parcels left. Sarah Rector received multiple parcels in an area northwest of Muskogee in Creek County, Oklahoma. Unfit for farming, these parcels were unfit for farming, so Sarah's father began leasing her land to oil prospectors. While most of the land yielded nothing, in 1903, one parcel hit the jackpot, yielding 2,500 barrels of oil per day. And this became known as the Cushing Drum White oil field and provided significant income for Sarah Rector. Eventually, the Rector family decided to take their considerable wealth to Kansas City. And this is the Rector house. Although it was constructed in 1899, over the next 20 years, two white families occupied the house until Rosa Rector, Sarah Rector's mother, purchased the house in 1920. Home ownership was rare for African-American families in Kansas City. In 1930, the U.S. Bureau of Statistics reported that of the 11,000 African-American families in the city, only 16% owned their homes. And of that small percentage, most of these homes were valued between $3,000 and $4,500 at the time. Only 11 African-American families owned homes worth more than $15,000, and 7 of those were valued at approximately $20,000. As you can see, this article from 1920, Sarah Rector's mother purchased it for cash for $25,000 in cash. These are some historic photos. On the right, on the left is Rosa Rector, Sarah Rector's mother. On the right is Sarah Rector herself later in life after she lived at the nominated property. So the Rector family, including Sarah, her mother, and by 1922, Sarah's first husband, Kenneth, lived in the house through the 1920s. The family used the house as other wealthy individuals of the Roaring '20s did, hosting parties and outfitting it with upscale furnishings. And here's the grand central hall off the main south entrance. And there's a small parlor to the right. And then this is the living room and dining room off the central hall. And they span the west side of the first floor. And they retain historic features such as the fireplace with the tile hearth and wood trim. These rooms, along with the parlor, were used for gathering spaces, both by the Rector family, and then once the house was purchased converted to a funeral home, they were used as gathering spaces for that function as well. And the house retains its original windows, including this decorative bay window on the west. And built-in cabinets remain intact on the large central hall on the second floor. And the master bedroom spans the west side of the house and retains this large built-in mirror. One of the few alterations to the house was the removal of the main stair, although the stair hall does remain. This is on the second floor. Looking down to the entrance to the east sun porch. Removal of the main stair was associated with the conversion of the house to the funeral home. This alteration provided more gathering space on the first floor and then limited access to the owner's residential quarters on the second floor. There is a small, there are two smaller stairs that access the second floor. In the context of the city as a whole, the home was relatively modest, a relatively modest display of wealth, but within the context of the small percentage of homes in Kansas City with African-American owners, the nominated property was one of only 7 with the greatest value. This display of wealth was rare in the African-American community. Sarah Rector fully embraced it, and the Atkins brothers funeral home used the stateliness of the house to convey stability, tradition, and comfort to mourners. The Sarah Rector house is significant as a display of wealth that was rare in Kansas City because systemic racism prevented most individuals from attaining that level of wealth. Sarah Rector prominently displayed her wealth through the house and other material goods, such as cars, clothing, and jewelry. When the Atkins brothers funeral home purchased the house, they were also purchasing an association with that statement of wealth, which again would project that stability and comfort, as well as a traditional residential setting for funeral services. So I hope that you will agree that it merits listing in the National Register, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ms. Consovoy. Am I saying your new last name right?
You are, yes, thank you.
Very good. All right, questions for Ms. Consovoy? Ms. Consovoy, what's I might have missed that. What's the intended new use for the house, or is there an intended new use?
At the moment, it is they're just seeking honorary designation, and they're looking for ways to help fund the ongoing maintenance and then eventually the use of the property for interpretation and also to support the work that they do, United Inner-City Services.
I'm promoting Gene Willis, who's with United Inner-City Services, and as a panelist, if you'd like.
Cool. Mr. Owens?
Yes, sir. Sir, do I need to be sworn in before I speak?
Yes, let me real quickly swear in Mr. Willis, and then we'll get to Mr. Owens' question. All right, Mr. Willis, good morning.
Good morning.
Will you please raise your right hand for the oath? Sir, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. Mr. Owens, you had a question?
Yeah, just a couple. I was just wondering, what year did the rectors move out?
I think that Rachel has more history on that than I do, but from what we understand, it was 1927, if I'm remembering, if what I'm noting is correct.
Okay. And then my other question, it probably is for Rachel. Was the roof originally all tile? I noticed the tile on the roof.
Oh, I'm actually not 100% sure. It's hard to tell from the 1940 photo.
Yeah, just a curiosity. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Other questions for Ms. Consovoy or Mr. Willis? Okay, Mr. Willis, would you like to speak a little bit to the project?
Absolutely. And first of all, we do very much want to thank Rachel and Rosen for their advocacy of this project. For those who aren't familiar, United Inner-City Services is an early education non-for-profit. We have been in existence for 53 years, and we are based out of the Northeast corridor with the neighboring St. Mark Union Church. being the foundation of our organization. We now have 3 early education schools in the Kansas City, predominantly serving those who could not afford normally early education. I only adjacent to the Rector House at St. Mark's Center, at 39th and Troost, at Metro Center, and then a new facility in Pleasant Valley. I mentioned that as relevant to this property in this. The question was asked regarding the future of the home. Our trajectory, should we continue to raise funding, and we have with 2 grants provided from the National Trust for Historic Preservation over the past 2 years, we intend to bring this property back to life in 2 fashions. One, the important history that took place in this home and again, we are not the owners of Sarah Rector or the Rector family story, only the house. However, we do see that as an inspiration to the neighboring communities and to all of Kansas City. So we hope to make an exhibit, for one, in hopeful collaboration with the family, to honor the history of the Rector family and Sarah Rector in this house here. So the house has been listed currently on the African American Heritage Trail. We hope to, again, as this project comes to life, to invite guests to be a part of that. The predominant use, as I mentioned, is that we are an early education center. Many of you may understand or remember that 2 years ago, the pre-K sales tax was on the ballot, where it highlighted some of the inequities between early education here in the city. Well, that gloriously failed, gloriously failed. However, the need has become more pronounced, especially during the pandemic. So what we're aiming to do is to move our administrative offices into this space, giving more room potentially for classrooms at St. Mark's Center, while also expanding some of the spaces and uses to be used for early education teacher training. We serve as workforce development in many ways for many of our teachers who are based off of their communities, to provide a transition from what may be a job to a career in teaching. We work to get certifications for the classrooms, help to provide and work toward paid professional development, and even connections towards scholarships. Frankly, a lot of our teachers are also parents themselves. So part of our trajectory is to allow the space to be used for day and evening classes for early education, not only for our schools, but for those in the area who want to make a transition into this career path. The important thing, though, equally to the history, is that this would serve what we like to say as a beacon for the citizens, not only of the Northeast, but of the entire community, as the history of Sarah Rector crosses so many literally epic parts of American history. Reconstruction, Native American history, the Roaring 20s, the Black American migration paths, and such. So we're very aware of these. As we dig more into this, we want to obviously partner with groups like Rachel and Rosen. The last thing I'll say is that we have had some significant advocates in the city. With Historic Kansas City's Lisa Briscoe, Strata Architecture has presented they've been a partner in developing costs for an overall master plan for the house and the surrounding property, should we decide to go into some of the parking spaces. And then, of course, the National Trust for Historic Preservation, as I mentioned earlier, has provided 2 grants, which has allowed for remediation, so that things like the photos that you saw, we could actually enter the house, that it was breathable air, that the areas were stable, that the asbestos was removed, things like that. Thank you for your time.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Willis. Any questions for Mr. Willis? Okay, excellent. Mr. Willis, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. That, I think, was incredibly valuable testimony to add to this project, especially as we look to move this forward. So we really appreciate your role in the community and your willingness to give so freely of your time with us.
It takes a community, and again, our partners like Rachel and everyone else, we've come to value what the efforts that go into historic preservation. Again, we work in early education, we work in community advocacy. I've learned so much more about architecture and berms and water runoff through this process, things you all already know, but we hope to bring this property back to life and honor the history and again, do right by our community. So thank you.
Excellent. Very good. If there are no further questions for our two applicants here today, I'd like to ask if there's any member of the audience who would like to testify. Please raise your hand in the participant panel menu at this time, or attendee panel menu. Okay, hearing none, we'll close the floor to further testimony and allow for discussion on this nomination, or perhaps a recommendation for approval to the Missouri State Historic Preservation Board.
I am very excited about this project, and I would be glad to forward the nomination.
Dr. Guth, please.
I move that the commission do forward the nomination to the National Historic Register of Historic Places of the Stair Rector House at 2008 East 12th Street.
Very good. And could we just note that it's under criterions?
Oh, under criteria A.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And we'll note that it's under, I'll make a friendly amendment and say that it's under the sub criterion of ethnic history. Is that if you accept that? Okay. Very good. Is there a second?
I accept that. Yes, I accept that.
Yes, I presumed. I saw you kind of mouth yes, so I figured that was good. And that was Commissioner Courtney. Did you second?
Yes, second.
Okay, very good. Motion has been made by Dr. Guth to forward the nomination for the Stair Rector House under criterion A, the subcriterion of ethnic history, for the National Register of Historic Places to the Missouri State Historic Preservation Office. The motion has been made by Dr. Guth and seconded by Commissioner Courtney. We'll go ahead and do a roll call vote if there's no discussion of the motion at this time. I'm just going to go in the order I see on my screen. So Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Very good. Commissioner Legg, how do you vote? Very good. Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Owens, aye.
Very good. And I will also vote aye by a vote of 5-0. This does pass. Thank you so much, Mr. Willis, for your time. Thank you so much, Rachel, for being in front of us again today. We look forward to seeing you both around.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Very good. Mr. Wolf, what would I like to call next?
Case number CHSDR-2020-00129.
It is so called. All right, Mr. Wolf, I would like to call that the aforementioned case to the table. Sorry, I'm pulling it up on my screen right now. Are you ready on your presentation, on your slideshow?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, killer. All right, so we will now hear case number CH-DR-2020-00129 concerning a package of properties in the 18th and Vine Historic District at the following listed addresses: 1818 East 19th Street, 1801 East 18th Street, and 1901 East 18th Street. Commissioner Laughlin.
Yeah, I'm going to have to recuse myself of this one as well. We're just too busy.
No, that's great though. We're glad you're busy. We will miss your input, but we're glad you're busy. All right, Mr. Wolf, let's go ahead and swear in the applicant. I'm going to try this. Is it Acapul?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, very good, Mr. Acapul. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Will you please state your name and address for the record, sir?
Okay. My name is Elvis Acapul, and my address is 708 West 17th Street. I'm an architect at B&IM Architects.
Very good. And Mr. Acapul, will you please raise your right hand for the oath? Sir, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Excellent. Mr. Wolf, staff report in this matter.
Actually, we have also Kristen McSparron with Rosen Preservation is also on the.
Hold on, sorry,
That's fine.
Oh, hi, Kristen. Good morning. I'm so sorry.
I think you're still on mute.
I was wondering.
Kristen, can you hear me at all? You're on mute. On your phone, I think you tap In the Zoom app, you just tap the screen at the bottom. You should see an option to unmute. Ah, very good.
Is it working now?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good.
Good
Good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Kristen McSparron, 3842 Charlotte Street, Kansas City, Missouri, 64109.
Very good, Ms. McSparron. Please raise your right hand for the oath. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. All right. Now I didn't miss anybody. Sorry, I got a little arrow down here at the bottom. That's why I did not see you. Mr. Wolf, in this matter, the staff report lists exhibits A through Q. Are there any new exhibits for the record today?
There are no new exhibits.
Very good. Is there any opposition amongst my fellow commissioners to admitting exhibits A through Q? Hearing none, they are so admitted. Mr. Wolf, we would love to proceed with the staff report, sir.
So the property address, at least the main property address, it's actually a series of 3 parcels, but 1801 or 1818 East 19th Street is the main parcel that the school building is located on, pictured here. It's basically at the corner of Woodland and 19th Street, and it faces south. And basically there's the 1905 building, which you see on the left side of your screen, or the west, and then the 1923 edition on the right. I'll just kind of walk you around the building here real quick. This is the west facade. So you can see the building, basically when the city had ownership of it, they actually put up at least a temporary roof because there was some fairly major leaking going on. And then all the windows have been replaced. Some are boarded up. So generally there's no original windows left on the building. This is the south facade. And this is the basically the east and the east and north facade of the 1922 edition. And here's the east facade of the 1922 edition. And kind of circling back around to the south. And then there's also an existing parking lot, basically located at the corner of 18th and Woodland. It extends out to the west, located here. And here is the 1940 tax assessor photograph. So this is a fairly extensive rehabilitation. They are using the state and federal historic preservation rehabilitation tax credits, which have been approved. Generally, I'm just going to divide this into 2 parts. One for the parking lot itself. So you have the existing parking lot, which has a number of green spaces. Pretty much it's going to stay in the same configuration. They will be repaving it, restriping it. They will be adding some additional sidewalks throughout the site. I kind of highlight, and then making sure the existing sidewalks are in good shape, highlighted in yellow. They are going to add some additional base of rehab. Any of the retaining walls. There are some stone retaining walls around the site, and those will just be repointed as needed to make sure they're stable. Basically on this, around the parking area, there'll be a 4-foot wrought iron fence. Some of it will be existing, some of it will be added. They will be adding basically gates, pedestrian and basically parking lot gates. To each part of the property to kind of restrict the access. Now it's kind of a general access as far as parking for 18 combined. There'll be a trash enclosure of cinder block located basically just to the east in the southeast corner of the property, close to the 1922 edition. But probably the most noted feature will be in the basically the southwest corner, where you'll see the yellow circle there. They're actually creating a sculpture garden. This will involve removing most of the existing asphalt and chain link fencing that's on the site. They will be basically proposing to construct an 8-foot tall black wrought iron fencing around this part of the area. Historic steps will be retained. Basically the idea to basically create a this secure outdoor space for the building, basically as part of their event space planning. And then for the main building, there will be a lot of basically repointing and cleaning of the existing masonry. They will use matching replacements where needed, and of the brick, limestone, or terracotta, and then possibly GFRC units if required for some of the other pieces, if nothing can be found that matches the original. The existing roof will be a composition shingle with aluminum gutters. On the 1905 edition, on the north side, which is basically they're going to add 6 small skylights, which you can't see on here exactly, but here are the plans. You can see them basically at the top right of the screen here. There will be fairly flat, low lines with fairly limited visibility. All the existing windows are not historic aluminum windows. They plan to basically install new aluminum windows that basically have a configuration closer to the historic pattern pictured in the 1940s photographs and on drawings. All the non-historic entry doors will be replaced with new painted aluminum doors that will better complement the building's historic character. Transom and side lights will be replaced with new aluminum frame windows to match the historic windows in configuration and profile. In the existing historic trim, transom and side lights will remain and be refurbished. So there are some remnants of existing trim and side lights that will be refurbished. And then there's a a non-historic slab door on the north side of the 1905 edition, which will also be replaced. And then really the last part outside the existing building, they are going to proposing to construct an addition, which is highlighted in red here and circled. Basically, this would be on the north side of the building, abutting mostly the 1922 edition, but partially on the 1905. Really, the idea is to create an entry and ADA access and elevator access for the entire complex. Basically, will be clad in glass, curtain wall, and concrete panels, and basically perforated decorative metal screening. As you can kind of see, most of that will be located on the first story of the addition. And here's kind of a cross section, so you can kind of see additional fire and safety, basically gallery space, elevator access that will be part of the addition. The proposed repaving and restriping of the parking lot is in conformance with standard 9. Removal of the chain link fencing is in conformance with standard number 2, and the repair and repointing of the limestone walls is in conformance with standard 6. The 4-foot tall black picket fencing will not alter any historic features and is appropriate to the style of the building and the site in conformance with standard numbers 2, 9, and 10. Replacement of the existing sidewalks will not alter, and installation of new sidewalks will not alter any significant spaces and use compatible materials in accordance with standards 2 and 9. Removal of the asphalt and installation of lawn and walkways will not remove any historic features for the event space and sculpture garden in conformance with standards 2 and 9. The black fencing is compatible with the style of the building, and the 8-foot is appropriate due to the size and scale of the building in conformance with standards 2, 9, and 10. The proposal to clean and repair the masonry is in conformance with standards 2, 5, and 5, 6, and 7, excuse me. The proposed asphalt roofing is in conformance with standards 2 and 9, and the skylights are low profile and in the secondary area of the roof in conformance with standards 2, 9, and 10. The existing windows are not historic, and the removal is in conformance with standard number 2, and the proposed windows are based on historic drawings and photographs and are appropriate to the style of the building and conforms to standards 6 and 9. The existing windows, the existing doors are not historic, and the removal is conforms to standard number 2, and the proposed doors are appropriate to the style of the building and conforms to standard 9. Repair of the historic trim is in conformance with standard number 6. The proposed addition, the removal of the mechanical room, excuse me, not roof, will not remove any distinctive features in accordance with standard number 2, and the proposed addition is located on a secondary facade and will not obscure any distinctive features. The use of materials differentiates it from the original building, and it can be removed in the future without harming the integrity of the property in conformance with 2, 9, and 10. And that concludes the staff report.
Very good. Is that all?
Yeah, it's a very large project. It's going to have a very significant impact to the combined district over there. So,
Excellent. Very good. Questions for Mr. Wolf from my fellow commissioners? Okay. Mr. Wolf, thank you so much for your staff report. That was excellent and very thorough and easy to follow as well. So I appreciate that. All right. With that being said, and no questions for Mr. Wolf, we'll move to Mr. Ackelpohl and Ms. McSparron. Do we have any, would you like to offer any testimony about your project?
I would just like to, I think Brad already mentioned, but SHPO and Park Service have both approved this entire scope of work already.
Awesome. Excellent. Mr. Ackelpohl, anything?
Sure. I think I just wanted to comment on kind of the proposed use for the project, just to clarify. So the attic school is proposed to be renovated into the Joe B. Art Center, which is a second location of the art center run by the Joe brothers in the Bridgeport neighborhood in Chicago. And so the entry addition and the renovation of the former playgrounds on site are to sort of serve the mission of having an art center that's also a gathering space for events and you know, kind of open galleries and artist studios.
Excellent. Any questions for Mr. Ackelpohl or Ms. McSparron? Mr. Owens?
Pardon me. So the perforated metal screen, I'm just curious, it appears to have some sort of pattern on there. Do you have any comments on what it may represent or how that design came into be?
Yeah, absolutely. So the pattern on, it's about a 10-foot tall perforated metal screen along the ground level at the main entrance of the entry addition. The pattern is based on a painting by the Joe brothers from a series called Open My Door, which we thought was pretty appropriate for the entry addition. The Joe brothers are originally from China, but have been in Chicago for many decades now. And a lot of their work harkens to you know, prehistoric cave paintings found in China in their hometown, as well as some more pop art type elements integrated into some of it as well.
Very interesting. Yeah, I knew it had something behind it, and that's really cool. Thank you.
Excellent. Other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the floor to further testimony from the applicants. Allow for any member of the audience who would like to testify to do so at this time. Okay. Hearing none, we'll close the floor to further testimony and allow for discussion on this project or perhaps a motion. It's an excellent project. I'm so excited to see this happen for the community and for those beautiful buildings. So very good work to BNIM and Resident Preservation as always. Anybody care to make a motion? If you are feeling as though this is quite the undertaking, you can just read at the the summary right before the legal description, and that would be a great sample motion language. Commissioner Owens?
I'm happy to do it unless someone else is really hoping to do it.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Well, in case number CHDR 2020-00129 for the properties of 1818 East 19th Street, 1801 East 18th Street, and 1901 East 18th Street within the 18th and Vine Historic District, I move that the commission approve a certificate of appropriateness to repave the parking lots, remove the chain link fencing, install picket fencing and gates, install metal fencing, install a new trash enclosure, construct sidewalks, restore stone retaining walls and stairs, construct an outdoor sculpture garden and event space, clean, repoint, repair, and replace masonry, replace windows, replace doors and repair trim, install skylights, replace roofing gutters and downspouts, demolish the one-story mechanical room and construct a three-story addition, as all these items are in conformance with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitations numbers 2, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10.
Very good. Is there a second for the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dr.
Second.
Made by Commissioner Owens. Very good. So motion has been made by Commissioner Owens. I will not repeat it. Suffice to say, it includes almost all of the standards for preservation and meets them. And seconded by Dr. Guth. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. Commissioner Owens, sir, how do you vote?
Aye.
Very good. Dr. Guth, sir, how do you vote?
Aye.
Very
Aye.
good. Very good. Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Commissioner Legge, how do you vote?
Aye.
Very good, and I will vote aye. This does indeed pass by a vote of 5-0. Ms. McSparron, Mr. Acapulco, thank you so much for your time and your stewardship of this beautiful set of properties, and very good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Mr. Wolf, what do I wish to call next?
Can we actually take a quick break? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and actually, we're trying to get hold of the applicant for the next case, so
Yeah.
a break would be fine.
Sure, let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break. Let's meet back at 10:25, so a 7-minute break. Mr. Wolf, just so I can catch up since I was having internet problems, what at this point I noticed that we have done our we have heard our nomination. We have heard 129. What else have we heard? 139.
39. So we're actually just down to number 2, the 2021-002 is the
What's
only.
up with 127?
That was continued.
Okay, very good. So we're on to our last new
Design
applicant.
review. Yep.
And we do not have what do you call that? A notice to proceed.
Not yet, no.
Okay,
So
very
we'll see if we can get that real quick.
okay, very good.
Hey, Brad, I have a question, Brad, about 3303, the one we continued. Don't we have a quorum on that one? Isn't that
No,
one?
we actually never heard it. So even though we've continued it, until we actually hear it, we don't get a quorum.
I
So.
thought that was one that we asked them to come back, like from back in like November or October or something like that. I thought this was something that we didn't have enough information on, so it was like a portion of the case that we asked for them to come back. But maybe I'm thinking of a completely
I
different.
think it's a different one in North Hyde Park. I know which one you're talking about. No, yeah, but no, this is a different place. Yeah, no, we actually never got into this case. No.
Okay, cool.
Okay, are we all back? All right, Mr. Wolf, what do we know?
We actually were able to get the homeowner. She emailing us a notice proceeding her absence, so we can review the case.
Okay, do we have that?
So we'll admit that as a new exhibit.
Okay, and do we have that email already?
Let's see.
I'm rejoining, by the way. I don't have to recuse myself on this one.
Oh, you're gonna hear one?
Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda.
Welcome.
Mr. Wolf, while we wait, I guess we could do the section 106 while we wait for the email.
Yeah, we can do that. It's not a problem.
I'll go ahead and call our section 106 activities to the floor. Mr. Wolf.
Jump forward to that one. So we basically only had one administrative approval for basically some furnace replacements. And then basically we have two new cases. Cases number 2020-HUD-0197, 811 East 31st Street. And case number 2020-HUD-0160, 148 North Topping. Both those have exhibits A through F for the record.
Okay. Are there is there any opposition to admitting the aforementioned exhibits? Okay. Hearing none, they are so admitted. Mr. Wolf, the staff report, sir.
The first one is basically at 811 East 31st Street. It's basically between Charlotte and Campbell along the south side of 31st Street. It's a small one-part commercial block built in 1921. It didn't have a specific architect or builder that was found for it. This is the main facade. This is probably has the most decorative details, including the glass block transoms and decorative limestone parapet with the brick, but a relatively simple design. The secondary facade, they're kind of a mix of various things. There might have actually been a house there that was added onto, which would not surprise me. I wasn't quite sure from my research. Obviously, being 2 stories, it makes me think they might have either added onto the front or cut back part of a house to make this building. Unfortunately, my Sanborn research was not very helpful. It was one of those little gaps that pop up. So, yeah. I said, dealing with the commercial corridor, the 2 buildings, basically you see in the top picture directly to the west of it, were actually built as multifamily. So they looks like they were converted to commercial at some time. There's a newer building to the north, along with Kitty's Cafe, which I think a lot of people know. And then to the east, basically, there's a couple more commercial buildings. There's also some residential buildings. Excuse me. Look at the aerial. Basically, this is, I've always kind of struggled finding what this area is, who claims this. It's kind of right between Longfellow and Hyde Park, but this area between 31st and Linwood tends to be a little bit of no man's land in the way of neighborhood associations. Nobody really takes strong ownership of it. But you can see the remnants. There's quite a bit of residential kind of scattered throughout this area still also. Staff generally thought that they will be performing a major rehab on the building, including roofing, new interior mechanical systems, basically just kind of reworking the storefronts. But there really aren't a whole lot of distinctive features or businesses that staff found in it, and staff generally thought this wouldn't be eligible for listing on the National Register. And the second case is basically for the Mattie Road Center at 148 North Topping in the historic northeast part of Kansas City. This is a 3-story modern building and built in 1956 by Terrell and McCall were the architects. It was built as an educational building to Bethany Baptist Church, which you can see directly to the west. These are the facades of the building. Really on the exterior, the main alterations include, and I'm not sure if those steel girders are original feature or if they are having to address an issue or not. Those are kind of an interesting exterior feature, but it does have new vinyl windows. I'm not sure if they match the original configuration, but it wouldn't surprise me. And then this is the church directly to the west. This is actually the back part. They have a couple additions over time. And really the main scope of work for this particular project is they're going to be remodeling the kitchen and dining room in the basement of the building. Mostly new cabinets, better functioning, and moving a couple of the walls as part of that process, which makes it a major alteration in review of our programmatic agreements. So you can kind of see here, really expanding the kitchen space and dining area, and then a fairly large open door space. General staff thought, even though the property is over 50 years old, it's still a relatively basic design, and staff didn't think it would be eligible for listing on the National Register. And so the project would have no effect on historic properties, and that concludes the staff report.
I have to unmute myself first. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. I would say any questions for staff, but I see Vice Chair Laughlin is fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, I just had I know that we can't require anything. I agree with that little building there on 31st Street. I've always kind of been intrigued by it, mostly because the transoms are still there. And I'm just curious if they're keeping the transoms, if you know if that's part of.
I don't think they have any plans to change that or the storefront. Really, it's mostly just stabilizing and doing a lot of work on the inside because the inside's pretty much gutted. I think they're planning to do basically two spaces to reflect the two entrances they have on the doors right now. So,
cool. Well, I'm excited that they're doing something with it. Like I said, I've always been intrigued by that little building. So,
yes,
cool. That's it.
Excellent. Commissioner Courtney, then Commissioner Owens.
I just had a quick clarification because on our in our notes in the agenda, the first case says it's 0109, but the slideshow said 0119.
Oh, it is 0109. Excuse me.
Okay, cool. Just
I'll
wanted to be
type
sure.
on mine. Yes, thank you.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Owens.
Just a super quick little side note for you, Brad. That neighborhood, the commercial area, it's by no means a official name, but people are calling it Tower East. Just yeah. If you didn't know that, just gonna throw that out there.
I have heard that. So yeah, I think actually that basically that area from basically Troost over to Main Street between Linwood and 31st really could use some type of organization really to kind of help promote it, because it is kind of an interesting area, and it'd be nice to get a full survey and kind of really get the history behind it. So
at least they're getting some interesting shops and restaurants in there. It's kind of a fun place to go every now and then.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other questions for Mr. Wolf?
I can make a motion if we're ready for that.
We will be momentarily.
Okay.
Is there any member of the audience, noting there are no attendees, let me just say it that way, I will skip asking if there's any member of the audience who'd like to testify and close the floor to further testimony, and I will ask Vice Chair Laughlin to make a motion for us.
Okay. In case numbers 2020 HUD-0109 at 811 East 31st Street and 2020 HUD-0160 at 148 North Topping Avenue, I concur that the projects will have no adverse effect on historic properties.
Okay, very good. Is there any comment on the motion, or can I get a second?
Second.
Very good. Seconded by Commissioner Owens, made by Vice Chair Laughlin. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote in the order I see you. Dr. Guth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Very good. Vice Chair Laughlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Very good. Commissioner Courtney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Very well. Commissioner Legg, how do you vote?
Aye.
Excellent. And Commissioner Owens, how do you vote?
Aye.
Very good. And I will also vote aye, vote of 6-0. This does indeed pass. Mr. Wolf, I believe that brings us back to our agenda.
Yes,
And we-
and I do have the email for the notice to proceed, so we can continue with that. Just add it as a new exhibit, and I will print it off and add it to the file.
Very good. Give me 1 second. My computer is just now telling me it's about to die. So let's take like a quick 2-minute break. I'm gonna move myself and then we'll get back at it. Okay, I'm gonna need you to move. If you can't tell, one of my corgis is very disturbed by me taking her spot on the couch. Really? All right, are we all ready?
We are.
Sorry about that. All right, Mr. Wolf, I'd like to call the matter of case number CH-DR-2020-00127 concerning 3303 Harrison Street in the North Hyde Park. Nope, sorry, that is not the one I want to call. I want to call CH-DR-2021-00002 concerning 18 West 52nd Street in the Simpson Yeomans and Countryside Historic District. All right, Mr. Wolf, we'll note that we have a notice to proceed in the absence of the applicant and owner, and that thus there will be the need to swear in the applicant. Mr. Wolf, the case list exhibits A through O. Are there any new exhibits for the record?
Ms. Manning's actually presenting this one, so.
Oh, excellent. Ms. Manning, very good. Good morning. Are there any new exhibits for the record?
Just that exhibit P would be our notice to proceed.
Excellent. Are there any objections to admitting exhibits A through P for the record? Hearing none, they are so admitted. And Ms. Manning, we are ready to proceed with the staff report.
Okay. Change my screen. All right, are you guys seeing the right thing? Okay. So for case number CHDR 2021-00002, 18 West 52nd Street in the Simpson Yeomans Countryside Historic District. We have an application. This house, as you can see, is on the corner of West 52nd and Baltimore Avenue. Yeah, it's the corner property. The applicant proposes to build a 22-foot by 28-foot detached single-car garage in the northeast corner of the property. Be in the rear yard with an entrance on West 52nd Street. As you can see, the northeast corner, mostly the rear area. The proposed garage is 1 story in height, and size and massing of the garage is appropriate to other garages in the district. It would not affect any significant spaces in conformance with standard number 2. The new garage will be clad in stucco to match and be compatible with the house in conformance with standard number 9. If removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property would be unimpaired in conformance with standard number 10. You can see the side will be clad in stucco. Right, the entrance on the side. This is a picture from Baltimore Avenue. As you can see, it'll be in the rear and it'll be hard to see from that corner. Therefore, the proposal to construct a 1-car garage is in conformance with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation number 2, 9, and 10. And this concludes the staff report.
Very good. Thank you very much, Ms. Manning. Questions for Ms. Manning? I'll go Vice Chair Lachlan and then Commissioner Owens.
I was just noticing the curb cut there along, I guess that's Baltimore, the side street there. And then I was going back through and looking that there used to be a garage there. So that's pretty awesome. I'm just curious if they're going to use the curb cut. Go back a few.
Yeah, or sorry.
There you go. It looks like there's a curb cut there. So I'm assuming that they're just going to be reusing that that cut.
Yeah.
Cool.
On the Second Street.
So they're basically building a garage, and there was one there historic, well, sometime in the past. I don't know if it was historic or not, but they're replacing a feature of the site that used to be there, according to the C of A's that we have for this property. So I was just noting that.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Owens.
I was just hoping to see exactly what's up on the screen now, which is the site plan, to kind of better understand it. So there it is. Okay, thanks.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. Thank you, Vice Chair Lachlan. Thank you, Commissioner Owens. Other questions for Ms. Manning? Going once? Okay, cool, sold. All right. There's no applicant, so we will at this time not hear any applicant testimony. We'll just note that for the record, as that's part of our process. And we'll also note that there are no attendees in the audience, so there is no possibility of audience testimony as well. And so with that noted, we will close the floor to further testimony and allow for discussion of this motion, application, or perhaps a motion. Vice Chair Lachlan.
I'll make a motion if no one else wants to or has anything to add.
Go for it.
All right. Well then, in case number CHDR 2021-00002 at 18 West 52nd Street in the Simpson Yeomans Countryside Historic District, I move that we approve a certificate of appropriateness to construct a 2-car garage at this site, as it is in conformance with the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation numbers 2, 9, and 10.
Very good. All right, motion is made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Very good. We'll give that one to Commissioner Legg this time. She got there just a touch earlier. All right. Motion has been made by Vice Chair Lachlan, seconded by Commissioner Legg. Is there any discussion on this motion? Okay, hearing none. We'll go ahead and vote. I'm just going to do a roll call in the order I see you on my screen. So Dr. Guth, that puts you front and center.
Aye.
Very good. Vice Chair Lachlan.
Aye.
Commissioner Courtney.
Aye.
Commissioner Legg.
Aye.
And Commissioner Owens.
Aye.
And I will also vote aye by a vote of 6-0. This does indeed pass. All right, Mr. Wolf, I believe that brings us to other matters, including the programmatic agreement process. Is that still on our agenda today?
Yeah, this is just a quick, we're basically updating, basically under section 106, we have a programmatic agreement with HUD. We're basically doing a new one and starting that process. So ultimately it'll come to the commission for your review and approval, but also I didn't know if any commissioners wanted to participate in the actual process. 1 or 2 of you, because we're going to have meetings with various groups to discuss changes to it, updating it, making sure it reflects current.
Well, I'm just always curious about that stuff. So
Yeah, sure. Mike and Amanda, we'll put you on the distribution list.
Right on.
So, but ultimately, I said we'll present the revised document to the commission also. But yeah, so not a problem. I just wanted to see if you was interested. So we'll be starting that in the next couple months, probably, or maybe in the next month. We'll be Zoom meetings. So
cool.
Cool.
Okay.
Right on. Well, are there any other matters for the good of the body?
We have tabled the I think Nicole Wellett's presentation on the question of, I think, going after any going after any absentee landlords who have been in violation of our.
I think we need to do that in a closed session.
Mm-hmm.
We do, and that's if the board wants to discuss that further. I had sent that memo, I don't know, a couple meetings ago. So if there were further questions on that, we could discuss it then. It was really at the board's discretion whether or not you wanted to discuss.
I read the memo and I felt like it was very explanatory and helped me understand the lay of the land. But I would ask if my fellow commissioners are okay with this, if we could schedule an independent time to do that in a separate closed session, if that'd be all right.
I would like to, yes.
Okay, Mr. Wolf, can we just send out a doodle or whatever, to
Sure.
figure out if people are available? Right on.
So just as a separate meeting outside our regular one would probably be best.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
think so. Yeah, I think that's my preference. I find usually, that even though there's nothing opaque about it, and there's no, closed doors and smoky rooms, right? But like, I do find that generally, I think some of our audience members appreciate when we stay, here and transparent the entire time. And going into a closed meeting, I think, wouldn't want to upset anybody who's come to watch that and then sits in an attendee's room alone in the dark for 20 minutes. So.
Nope, not a problem. We can do that.
Okay, excellent. Anybody else? Matters for the good of the body? For the good of my body, there's some coffee in my future. So if there's if there are no other yeah, go ahead.
Just kind of random. I think it was this time of year maybe that we did our retreats previously. Yes. Are we going to do anything virtually, or are we just kind of tabling that until vaccines are distributed?
Flexible on that. I didn't know if you had a preference or not as commission. If you'd rather go ahead and do one.
I miss you guys. Like I like being able to do this, but I think there's something about being in person. So maybe when it gets warmer, we can do something outside.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love that if we could just look like for a nice weekend in March to just kind of, if we're not all vaccinated, I'll probably be vaccinated by that point as a teacher, hopefully, assuming they don't bungle the rollout any further in Missouri and Kansas. But if we are not all vaccinated, we could just find a socially distant place and do a little professional development. I'd like that.
Yeah, let's wait.
Okay, we can do that. So I might throw out a couple times in the next few months as kind of a tentative date, and then we can kind of just so we can get on our calendars, and then as it gets closer, we can decide if we want to still do it.
Cool.
Just so we can get it reserved.
I want to do it. I just want to make I don't know. I want to be more.
I understand completely.
The venues have been so important too. The venues have been so important in the past.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. Well, I'd love to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Very good. Vice Chair Laughlin got Dr. Guth again. All right. Vice Chair Laughlin has made the motion. Dr. Guth, would you like to second, sir?
Second.
Excellent. Okay. Sorry not to cut you off there, Commissioner Courtney. Saw you were just unmuted yourself. All right. Is there any opposition to adjourning? If so, please say so now.